Good morning, class. Miss Wright here. Just wanted to read a story today, and you all probably remember we were talking about courage because we are choosing love, right? So I've got a special book that I'd like to share with you today. I've got a special friend, Twilight Sparkle, that's going to join us. So she's telling you to put on your listening ears because we're going to get started. And the lovely story I'm going to share with you today is called She Persisted by Chelsea Clinton. Sometimes being a girl isn't easy. At some point, someone probably will tell you no. They'll tell you to be quiet and may not even tell you your dreams are possible. Don't listen to them. These 13 women who certainly did not take no for an answer because they persisted. Harriet Tubman was born a slave, and her story could have ended there. Instead, she became the most famous conductor on the Underground Railroad. She risked her life many times to lead countless slaves to freedom, including her family, friends, and strangers. Every person she led to freedom arrived safely. She said, "I should fight for my liberty as long as my strength lasted." Show courage. Once, Helen Keller became blind and deaf as a toddler. Few people thought that she'd be able to learn to read, write, or speak. But guess what? She persisted. Helen learned how to do all three and not only became the first person with deaf blindness to graduate from college, but she used her story to help fight for more opportunities for people with disabilities in the United States and all around the world. She said, "One can never consent to creep when one feels an impulse to soar, because the sky is the limit." And her family fled poverty and the threat of violence in Ukraine for a new home in New York City. Clara Limplick got a job working at a garment factory. She wrote that the factory's conditions made women into machines, and so she persisted, organizing picket lines and strikes that ultimately helped win better pay, shorter hours, and safer working conditions for thousands of workers, both men and women, because they persisted and had courage. Her motto was, "I am the one of those who suffers from the abuses described here, and I move that we go on a general strike," because she persisted. Nellie Bly became a reporter in part because a male writer had said that working women were a monstrosity, and she wanted to prove that women could do anything and everything. At times, putting her safety at risk, she persisted throughout her career in exposing real monstrosities, pretending to be a sweatshop worker and a patient in a mental hospital to show how badly people were really being treated. She said, "I have never written a word that did not come from my heart. I never shall." And she persisted. Inspired from an early age by her brother's childhood illness, Virginia Apgar was determined to be a doctor, long before many girls had such dreams. Even though she qualified to be a surgeon, the male head surgeon at her hospital tried to discourage her because she was a woman. Nevertheless, she persisted, becoming an anesthesiologist and creating the Apgar score to test baby's health, which hospitals all over the world still use today. She says, "Nobody but nobody is going to stop breathing on me because I choose to be persistent." After Maria Tachi's family moved to California, partly to support Maria's dreams of becoming a dancer, she was teased by students in school for her Native American heritage, and later was encouraged to change her last name to something that sounded Russian, since many professional dancers at the time were all from Russia. But she persisted, ignoring all the taunting and poor advice to become the first great American premier ballerina. She said, "It never occurred to me to say, it hurts to do that," because she persisted. At 15, riding a bus home from school in Montgomery, Alabama, Claudette Colvin was expected to give her seat to a white woman just because she was African American. In her refusal to get up, she persisted in taking a stand for what's right, helping to inspire Rosa Parks to make the same choice 9 months later, an act that many point to be starting the modern civil rights movement. And she said, "I knew then and I knew now that when it comes to justice, there's no easy way to get it. You can't sugarcoat it. You have to take a stand and say, this is not right." When Ruby Bridges was in kindergarten, many schools across America, particularly in the South, still refused African American students their equal rights to an education. Ruby wouldn't be treated like a second-class student, and she persisted, walking for weeks past angry, hateful protesters to integrate an all-white elementary school in New Orleans. She said that fateful walk to school began a journey, and we all must work together to continue moving forward because she persisted. As the first woman to serve both a U.S. representative and a U.S. senator, Margaret Chase Smith could have that fact alone been her legacy. Instead, she persisted and championed women's rights and more opportunities for women in the military, standing up for free speech and supporting space exploration. The head of NASA once noted that we wouldn't have put a man on the moon without Margaret. She said the right way is not always the popular and easy way. Standing for right when it's unpopular is a true test of moral character because she persisted. Sally Ride always believed that women could succeed in math or science career, although not everyone agreed. But she persisted, and she became the first American woman in space. But that wasn't enough for Sally. She traveled into space once more and then created a science and engineering program specifically for girls so she could help generations of young women achieve their dreams. Two, both on Earth and in outer space. And Sally says, young girls need to see role models in whatever careers they may choose, just so they can picture themselves doing those jobs someday. You can't be what you can't see. And she persisted. When as a kid, Florence Griffith Joyner visited her father in the Mojave Desert, he would urge her to run faster and faster, to run as fast as a jackrabbit, even when she had to leave college to help support her family. She persisted in her training on the track, then went back to school and got faster and faster. Her unbroken world records in the 100-meter and 200-meter sprints set at the 1988 Summer Olympics. She is still the fastest woman ever. And she said, when anyone tells me that I can't do anything, I'm just not listening anymore. And she makes it to the finish line because she persisted. Oprah Winfrey's grandmother expected Oprah to follow in her footsteps and become a maid. Oprah knew, even as a little girl, that her dreams would take her somewhere else. She persisted in turning those dreams into a reality and became a media superstar, working in movies, books, magazines, theater, and most of all, television, where the Oprah Winfrey Show remains the highest rated talk show of all times. She said the biggest adventure that you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams, because she persisted. Watching fictional judges on television inspired Sonia Sotomayor to want to be a real-life judge when she grew up. She knew she'd have to speak English as well as she spoke Spanish. She would have to study hard and manage her diabetes before she could one day wear a judge's robe with a gavel in her hand. But she persisted, eventually becoming a Supreme Court justice and the first ever Latina to sit on America's highest court. She said, I have never had to face anything that could overwhelm the naive optimism and stubborn perseverance that I was blessed with because she persisted. So if anyone tells you no, and if anyone ever says that your voice isn't important or that your dreams are too big, remember these women. They all persisted, and so should you. The end. That's a lovely book about having courage. So I want you all to go out today, and I want to say, let's be fabulous in every way. Be kind and go out there and have courage. You all have a great day. Bye for now.